My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Noonas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Natalia.
And I'm Sky.
And today we're back at it again with another edition of What Have We Been Up To? I.e., what are we watching and what are we listening to?
Because that's all we do.
As you know, we keep saying, like, in this current world, you gotta keep busy to stave off insanity. And a really good way of doing that is by enjoying the world of streaming entertainment that exists for us. So we do. So,
Yep.
we're going to start with what we've been watching, and then we'll scoot over after we talk about that to what we've been listening to. So, Amanda, take it away. What have you been watching recently?
Well, okay, technically, I'm still watching Sweet Home and Uncanny Counter. I really am enjoying them very, very much. But since the last day of school before Christmas, basically the day Sweet Home came out, I watched 3 episodes. Then I had to do things because, you know, life. Mm-hmm. And then my kids came home. And they haven't left yet, like, at all, because we're on lockdown again. So my kids are around all the time. And neither of those shows is really something I'm comfortable with my 9-year-old possibly walking in on, because there are going to be things that he just shouldn't see. So, but I also know myself, if I watch these things at night before I go to bed, I'm going to have nightmares. So I'm like trying to find that sweet little time in the day where my husband takes the youngest for a walk or something has been tight. So they're not dropped. I am still watching. I'm still enjoying. It's just slow going. So
you're in a real catch-22 there.
Yeah. I don't know. They're never leaving again. They keep saying they will. Like the school board keeps going, oh no, just like another week. No, just another week. It's just another week. And we're like, you're lying. You are lying.
Well, it's funny because I just turned to my husband the other day and I was like, so we're like not leaving the house till like April, right? And he was like, oh, for sure.
That's what I keep saying. And my family's all like, no. Like, for sure, we're going back to school. And I'm like, my daughter's supposed to have a ceramics class. It's her next quadmester starting like in 2 weeks or a week or something. And I'm like, has the school called you yet about like what you can switch that out for? And she's like, no, because we're going back. And I'm like,
you're like, honey, I love your enthusiasm and your positivity right now, but I think we have to face facts. We might
have to be doing like pottery with Play-Doh at home, sweetie. Like, it's not. So
yay for pinch pots. That's all you're gonna get to do.
Yay for history of sculpture.
Well, the other one's got gym starting, so that's
all right, everyone, get up out of your seat.
And I know his teacher because he's got the same gym teacher my daughter had, who I had in high school. That man is just going to make them watch like every sports movie ever made, and then like maybe write a report about it at the end of the year. Like, there's no way he's going to make them do anything for gym class when it's on the computer. So
okay, everyone, get out of your seat. Do 5 squats. Let's do 2 lunges.
I went to a Catholic school when I was in middle school. It was a time, and for most of that gym time, we would do like essays and research and stuff. Like that was actually like required at that school, so I could see them doing that. But like it was kind of okay because it was like centered around things. So like I learned like the actual history of basketball and like in depth, like that sort of thing, and like how it started and where it came from, that sort of thing. So that was cool. But I could see that happening. But also, I'm from Florida, and there was one year I took a gym class over the summer so I could get it out of the way, so I could do more theater classes, and they were required by law to not have kids outside in the afternoon because it got too hot, because it was summer and it'd be over 100 degrees. heat.
Oh,
So
no.
literally all we did for half of our day
no.
was watch Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Nice.
Alrighty.
And it was
Nice.
the best. We were
That's
like,
not
this
bad.
is like great.
I just don't trust this particular teacher's taste. He'll probably have them watching like basketball and like, you know, other completely inappropriate stuff. Dodgeball will probably feature heavily. Like,
You should get him to watch the golden retriever that
Airbud.
Airbud. Yeah. Yeah, I could see him pulling that too. So, I don't know. Hopefully my kids get educated over the next couple of months.
Like, what's even the point of having a gym class for online? Like, there's just, let it go. Let it go.
Like, my daughter's like, the school hasn't contacted her, but when she looks at, like, she had her form all filled out for her picking her classes for next year, and she had, like, the second pottery class, like pottery 2.0 or whatever, and it's been crossed off and it's not offered at the school anymore. And she's like, yeah, you're telling me I can't take the grade 12 because the grade 11, I'm not going to be able to take it, right? But you're not telling me that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, things that I actually am watching, that I'm watching, that I have the time. I've been watching a lot of J-dramas because especially the shorter ones, I can like sit down and knit and binge them like whole thing all night. It's good. I started last night watching Choosing Spouse by Lottery. It's weird. It's good though. Like I dig it. I don't really like one of the main female characters, but I think that's by design. You're not supposed to like her yet, kind of thing. I really like the main lead, like the character. He's so soft and like he's a huge germaphobe, and I just keep looking at him like, oh sweetie, like in a couple of years nobody's gonna want to shake your hand. It'll be fine. Like
just hold out.
Hang on. Like
don't worry about it. It's gonna turn out okay for you.
It's gonna be fine. And it's really interesting. Like the concept is that in Japan, they've got a declining birth rate. And so the government decides that what they'll do to fix this is that they're going to force every single adult between the ages of 25 and 39 to go on blind dates and get married. And the government will set up your blind date. You are allowed to put one thing on your form that is like a non-starter. Like if he does not have this, I get to say no and I don't get punished, you know, like this is, but you've only got you've got two freebie passes to say no to somebody that you don't like. And if you say no a third time, you're going in the army. Like you have to serve for 2 years. Unless you're a doctor or a nurse, then you just get to go to like a remote village or a remote island or something and provide medical services for 2 years. And this kid is so socially awkward that he's like, he actually kind of thinks it's a good thing because it's the only possible way he could ever foresee any woman ever marrying him is
sad.
You know, and yeah, and I mean, by episode 3, he hasn't used any of his get out of jail free cards yet because every single woman has rejected him first. You just see how it's like shattering him, like just over and over again. It's really interesting. It looks at all these different reasons why you would want to get married, reasons why you wouldn't want to get married. Yeah, and so the main character has started like a blog where he talks about the people he meets and how this is not a good thing. Like it's, you know, he went into it thinking maybe it was an okay thing, but he's seeing how it's hurting so many people and that it can't be a good thing. So it's not a rom-com. It's not exactly a slice of life. It's a slice of weird life, maybe. But it's good. I'm enjoying it. So, yeah. So I like that. I started watching a Chinese drama called My Little Happiness this week. It's good. It's very bingeable. very easy to watch, relatively speaking. I don't dislike the male lead, but I don't love him. He's a little Asian male leady. Like, he's got that, it's childhood sweethearts thing, but she doesn't remember him. And he keeps behaving in ways that are completely inappropriate, given that she does not remember their shared history right now. And it turns out she does remember their shared history, but he was short and fat when she knew him, and he's tall and handsome now, so she doesn't believe that he could possibly be the short, fat kid. And, you know, people around her are like, you know that people grow up, right? Like, he's not still going to look like a short, fat 9-year-old. Like, he's
Listen,
gonna look like an adult now.
When I was 9, compared to all the people in my class, I was tall and skinny. But then everyone grew taller around me, and I just went that way. Yeah. Like, I went out, not up. So,
yeah, well, like,
change, my dudes.
My 9-year-old was like watching over my shoulder, and he was like, I don't understand why she doesn't know who he is. And I said, sweetie, you look exactly like Daddy did when he was your age. If somebody knew him when he was your age and then met him like 20 years later when he looks like he does now, they would not make that connection. You don't look like Daddy. Like, it's not, you know. He's like, oh, yeah, okay. And I was like,
I actually have the exact same face I did as a kid. So people who haven't seen me in like 20 years are like, oh, it's you. And I'm like,
nice.
Yes. It's me.
I also started watching Sweet Combat. It's about boxing and Luhan, and I like Luhan. The drama's okay. It's not like I don't feel the need to like sit and watch 70 episodes in a row, which is good because there's not 70 episodes. There's only like 40, but it feels like 40 is probably too many, but that's a common C-drama problem. So, you know, it's kind of my throw it on in the background while I'm doing stuff.
Yeah.
Drama. And it works for that. It's fine.
I liked his character's role with his siblings, his younger siblings. I like
very much so. That's a really good dynamic in it. I like that. I like one of the side couples, the boxing side couple. I kind of dig them right now.
They're funny.
Like, she's such a tomboy, and the fact that he's so into her, like, is nice. Like, it's not I'm into you despite, or I'm into you, you know, he's just really into her because she's great at what she does and he likes her, you know, and that's always nice to see. It's always nice when the guy likes the girl for who the girl is and not because he can see past or whatever, you know. So yeah, so far there's none of that.
It's one of those plot lines that like shows up so often, and you're just like, can this be like in the past now?
We're done.
Like, move on from this.
Yeah.
We're done with this. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I did start Sunbae Don't Put On That Lipstick, which is you know, the much better title, but goes by She Would Never Know, which is so
By the
generic.
way, which platform is that on?
It's on
IQIYI.
IQIYI.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it is VIP, so you can watch the first episode, but nothing else has unlocked yet. I don't know if it ever will. I enjoyed the first episode, but not enough to chase it or pay for it, so it's probably going to be a drop for me because I just don't care enough. And I don't really like the IQIY platform that much. Like, it's good on a computer. It's not great on the apps. So
because that's such a new, like, because I wanted to try to watch that show because it's such a, you know, new this week. I would guess it'll unlock probably this coming week if I had to. It's just kind of the way they do, like every other week unlocking.
Yeah, like I think it's up to episode 4 now. and episode 2 is not unlocked. So yeah. So sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, apparently. And you can get a free month. So if I hear really good things, you know, out in the world, then maybe I'll wait until there's like less than a month left and get my free month and watch it all. But at the moment,
the system.
I really enjoyed Rowoon and Wanjana. Like, I love them. I like both of them as actors. I enjoyed their dynamic together. The plot of the story is, it's all right, but it's not something I would generally chase down. So chasing it down and paying for it feels like not really what I'm into. Also, I'm just mad that they went with such a boring generic name when they had Sunbae Don't Put On That Lipstick right there, which, I mean, it maybe doesn't roll off the tongue, but at least you know exactly what you're talking about. Whereas the super generic one, it's like, I don't know, that could be any K-drama. Like,
right.
Whatever. So that's about it. That's it. I watched some English television too, because new season of Kim's Convenience is out. So, well, in Canada. Sorry, guys. Y'all have to wait. But I get to watch it, so.
Does it usually come out here, like, when it finishes in Canada?
Yeah, usually, I think a month or two after it finishes here, then it shows up on Netflix, so.
Canada gets so few things first. Just
give
us this.
One thing.
one thing.
Well, I'll especially allow it since, you know, it's Canadian.
Yeah, right? Okay.
It is literally made in Canada with an all-Canadian cast, so
yeah, that's it for me. What have you been watching, Jessie?
So in what I finished, I haven't finished a lot, and I was trying to think of like the things that I finished since the last time we like did any sort of one of these things. Sweet Home, I finished. I literally watched that 10 minutes after it dropped, started watching it and didn't stop. In one sitting, like literally one sitting, I watched the entire thing. It was great. It was wonderful. It's one of my favorite dramas of last year. So perfect. And yeah, I could go on and on about it, but I'm not going to because it would spoil things. Just, if you're into horror and stuff, watch it. I also watched a lot of stuff that we've already talked about. So if you want to know, like, you know, my thoughts on like Alice in Borderland and stuff like that, you should listen to last week's episode where we talked to it. I also watched Gap Dong. It's a crime drama from 2017 or 2014 or something like that. I don't remember dates
something
anymore.
like that. 2014, I think.
2014. And if you want to know my thoughts about that, you're gonna have to listen to my new podcast with Natalia. We announced that we had a podcast, and that was our first episode, was about that drama. It's not going to be a specifically Asian entertainment podcast, but Good Time with Crime. Watch it there. Then you can know my thoughts and feelings on Gap Dong. In things that are still air, just have finished airing. I'm still watching The Uncanny Counter. I'm a little bit behind because I'm behind on everything, just because all the things that I just said, I kind of pushed other things away to watch that. And I'm almost done with it, but I think on 13-ish. I think I'm at the point where there's a writer shift. So who knows what's going to happen if Jesse's going to actually end the show liking it. Because a writer changed that, like, they didn't like where the show was going per what everybody else wanted and not the writer, means that it probably is an ending that Jesse is not going to like and not a fan of.
Well, everything I've seen online has said satisfactory ending, which sounds like it'll piss Jesse off. So.
Yep. Yeah. So congrats, guys. You all got what you wanted and not what the writer wanted. And Jesse. Yeah. I also had started this Taiwanese horror show called Detention. I had watched it when it was airing. It started airing at the beginning of December. and I had stopped it to focus on other things, and I'm picking that back up to finish it. It's not a very long drama too, so I should be able to finish it pretty soon. I have like a goal. I'm trying to finish a lot of this stuff that I had like pushed aside before February, like mid-February hits, because February is going to be a tough month for Jessie because there are so many shows airing and premiering that I want to watch, like more than ever I've ever had in my life. I'm trying to like get through some of the other shows so I can focus on those shows when they start airing. I mean, I think I'm up to like 8 shows, which is like ridiculous. I've never had like 8 premiering shows that I've wanted to watch ever. It's just like I don't know what happened at K-Drama Land, and they're like, listen, almost everything's gonna be like a crime or dark or fantasy drama next month.
It's because your birthday's coming up, and they were like, they're like, we gotta feed Jessie for her birthday.
We gotta get you. So I'm trying to watch Detention before I finish it up. It's good. I don't know if I've like talked about what the premise is. There is a video game that I think is like the first. Don't quote me. I don't know if like the video game is the first thing that came out in this kind of franchise. So I don't know if the storyline focuses on what happens in the video game. It could have also been like a comic book, but it is essentially set in the early 90s. This girl has come back from living abroad and is at a new school. She can see ghosts, and while she's there, she sees like there's this building that's kind of been condemned and not the students aren't allowed in it, and she sees a ghost, and the ghost doing its final like committing suicide, and it kind of like brings along the story of what happened in the school when the girl had committed suicide, and kind of like a lot of like the things that happened within the school and within some of the people and the like teachers and staff and stuff. Also kind of like the political regime that was happening, because it would have been in the like early 80s that that ghost had done anything. So like it's a bunch of different things, and you're kind of piecing together stuff. I like it. It's a slow drama and quiet drama too. There's not a lot of like jump scares or anything, so it might like deter a lot of people, but I liked what I have so far, and I'm about halfway through it. I also started Memorist last month, and I was really, really into it, and so I really want to finish that. It's about this kid who can read minds if he touches them, and he works in the police force, and this like kind of serial killer is kind of exposed, and kind of dealing with like trying to find him, but also he has opposition in that he's not allowed to do stuff because he has this power, and like what the public is foreseeing, and just like the ramifications of that through the legal process and kind of all that story. Also in just like other things that I just kind of picked up here and there, I started Midnight Diner, which is a Japanese drama. It's on Netflix, and there's like a lot of different seasons of it, and some of them are like entitled differently, and I haven't looked too much into it in fear of spoilers, so I don't know if like they all are the same, like if you could pick up one of those seasons and not like watch the other, because there's like the Midnight Diner and then there's the Midnight Diner Tokyo stories, and I don't know, they have the same main lead, and the premise of this show is that there's this guy who's has this diner that is only open from midnight until 7 a.m. And each episode focuses on the customers that come in, and he kind of just makes just whatever for them. And it usually is something very simple that like reminds them of their like childhood or a specific memory. And like, so the story of whatever their issue is happens within the like 25 minutes of this show. And then it's done. Like, I haven't really seen much like overlay in the characters besides the guy, which it might happen in the like later episodes of the season. So that's why I don't know if like jumping around would not be okay. But it's like more of a slice of life. It's really sweet and really nice. And like, it's kind of fun to have different characters. It's also one of those food dramas that are like actual food dramas, in terms of that at the end of the episode, they're like, oh, here's the recipe, and the actors go over the recipe, which is apparently like my favorite trope and like my favorite genre, because I really like that, what was it? Simply Cravings, I think it is. I talked about it a lot on this podcast, but it's like one of my favorite little dramas, and it's the same setup, and I've like watched other things and I've like generally liked it, and I don't know why. It's not like I specifically like this like recipe part, but
I like when they do that, because it's like, it's so frustrating when you watch something and you're like, okay, but what are you putting in that? Because that looks super good, and I want to be able to make it, and I don't even know what the name is, you know, like, yeah. So when they give you the recipe, it's nice.
When I was younger, I was known for my really excellent curry making, and everyone was like, oh, where did you get this recipe for curry? It's so good. I got it from a manga that did that. It was a manga called Curry Wars, I think is what it was, about like a curry restaurant where at the end of every volume, it would have all the recipes for all the curry they made in like the volume, and they were so good.
Nice.
So just give it to us.
I don't even like know why, like, especially because like the parts that I like are not really involving food. So like, I don't know why. I guess it's like the most closely like linked to like kind of like slices of life, and I really like slice of life. And what's interesting about this show, unless I haven't noticed it, but the recipes are never focused on like an ingredient that you could obviously tell was a product placement. Like literally the end of one episode, they just taught you how to do like rolled egg, and so you never saw any packaging. It was just the egg and like
nice
chopsticks essentially, and you're like, oh, interesting. But I really like it because it's just like nice to throw in a couple of episodes. I think it's just going to always be something that I have just so I can throw in a couple of episodes and move on, unless the storyline changes and actually develops more of a plot. Then I might like kind of go through, but like right now they're so contained. They're like literally so like, that's all you have with this person for 20 minutes and then it's done. And then the next one, it's not completely different. The only thing that stays the same is that it's the same restaurant with the same guy and the same hours. Also, I kind of just started, I don't know if I'm going to continue with it, but probably will because it's me. I am watching the Japanese drama Cold Case, which is based on the US drama Cold Case. They're pretty much exactly the same, which is probably why I'm not going to continue with it or like want to continue with it, because it's pretty much the same. I liked Cold Case, the American version, but like, so there's now nothing different with the Japanese, like besides like the deaths are like different and that sort of thing. If you've never seen Cold Case, it's just focuses on a group of detectives who are in the cold case unit who solve crimes from the past, and that's all they do. The Japanese drama does it so exactly the same as the US. If you've ever seen Cold Case, one of the things that they do is when they to show the people that they're like conversing with, like how they looked when they were at the time of the like incident that occurred, they'll do this thing where like, so say the detective comes in and they're interviewing a guy and he's a doctor now. When they like, the camera passes by behind the detective and it comes around, you'll see that the detective is whoever the actor playing him younger, and he looks exactly the same age at whatever the time the crime is, and it'll go back to like present day. I do find it like interesting in this one. The lead like detective in the Japanese version is a female, and that's not in the American version. So that's kind of nice, and she's really good. But I don't know, maybe I'll keep it up. Who knows? What are you watching, Natalia?
Oh boy. Okay. I've got a few things that I'm on. If we're like on Netflix, I am watching Run On, which I am really enjoying. It's like it's kind of a bizarre show. Like the characters are very odd, but like it works. It's very enjoyable. It's well done. It's about a runner who's the son of a like assembly person who's a real piece of work, and he gets caught up in this scandal involving him assaulting, not really, some people, and then there's, and then he falls in love with, a girl. You know how it goes. And there's a CEO and there's a painter, and there's
always a CEO.
Yeah, it's a lady CEO this time. And she's so mean, like so delightfully mean to everyone except her secretary, that it's just and like her secretary is just this like delightful man who loves his cat, and she's only nice to him. She's literally mean to everyone else she meets, and she's just so wonderful, and I love her. It's good. It's really enjoyable, and it's on Netflix, and I'm really into it. It takes like a few episodes though to like really get going. Like the first couple episodes, you're like, why am I watching this? Like, what is happening here? Like, why is this interesting? But then suddenly it gets, it gets really interesting, and there's like, you fall in love with like this cute little character who's like the main dude's like little not sunbae, but like Hubei minion, like, and he's so sweet, and they're just like, okay, I'm in. So the show is really enjoyable. I am also watching, Sky's watching this as well, True Beauty. Yo, it's so good. Like, I was actually not really expecting it to be like amazing, but it's so good, yo. And I might be reading a little into it because a lot of the things that it deals with was stuff that I had problems with when I was younger, though, like, I didn't know how to do makeup to hide my acne. Just like, it's so good. And like, it makes you feel nice watching it. You know what I mean? Like, you feel good watching it, like when you see the like triumphs, and you really like are cheering when they're in, the characters are down, you're like, come on, you can do it. So like it's very nice. So it's really good. I've also kept up with Manor of Death, and I'm happy to report it does get better.
Oh,
that's good.
It gets better. So
maybe I'll hop back on that train. So
I've been waiting for it to completely go. I was like, no, I'm not even going to try it when it's airing. Just
like I'm pretty into it. I have the IQII VIP, where I am also watching, which just finished literally today that we're recording it, the show called Generation Y. So like,
Y is right.
Is it? Don't you mean WeTV VIP?
Okay, yeah, WeTV VIP, and then I also I got the free month on. Sorry, yes.
Okay.
Manor of Death is on WeTV. Generation Y is on IQIY.
Okay.
I got it mixed up in my head, and I get them mixed up all the time anyway. Gen Y. The best I can say is it's a very bizarre Two Moons fan fiction that's really gone off the rails a little. And it's like the show was like your very standard, like, just gay college students falling in love, and then suddenly like it added this just very brief supernatural element that then was gone, and then, then they like left it on a cliffhanger because there's gonna be a season 2. I don't know what's happening. Like, the show literally is mystifying, and I'm like, every time I watch it, I'm like, why was this made? Like, when you watch a show, it's enjoyable. I need to say this. It is actually enjoyable to watch, but it is very what the fuck when you're watching it. Like, what? And like, the actors are all really good, and they're all like doing their best. One of them has amazing eyebrows. I'm like really into his eyebrows. But like, it's just like there's like 5 billion characters that you have to track of too. It's like it was trying to do too much, but also not do a lot at all. It's very confusing. Otherwise, I've been watching a lot. I just finished Tanhan Chanlati on YouTube. The show is very cute and it's very sweet, but it has really weird pacing. I'm gonna say that, where it's like really slow for the first 8 of 10 episodes, and then it like squeezes like 6 episodes worth of content in the last 2 episodes, and you're like, whoa, geez, go slow down. Too much is happening too quickly. But like, it's really cute. It's like a really cute show. And as my final note of what I'm still watching, I look away in embarrassment. I am still watching Fahrenheit season 2 against my better judgment. There's 1 episode left, but I'm like too far into it that I can't like get out now, right?
It's 1 episode. You can do it.
You just gotta finish the 1 episode. It's exactly as advertised. That's all I need to say about it. And then besides that, I just watch a hell of a lot of YouTube. A hilarious amount of Minecraft YouTube that's almost... I know too much about these random Minecraft players' lives that I really like shouldn't. Like the other day I was lying in bed and I was like, oh honey, you'll be really happy to know that after 13 years of trying, Doc X33's wife got pregnant. And my husband's looking at me like, okay. I'm like, and I'm like, and he rebuilt his goat statue. Aren't you excited? He's like, yes, honey. Like, pat your head. Really happy for you.
That's my life, but the Rust servers.
Yeah.
Because on Minecraft, I watch builds. So, like, it's just like, now I know how to do everything in Minecraft, and I don't even have it on my computer. Cool.
Yeah. No, I watch, it's called the Hermitcraft server, and it's just like the same group of people. And it's like, there's a lot of like builds, like depending on who you watch, it's like you can either get shenanigans, you can get builds, you can get, how-tos, like you never know. But I'm just way too invested in these people's lives. Like, I need to see some friends. Okay?
When I get a better computer, Natalia and I are gonna like.
We're gonna start a Minecraft server one of these days. But yeah, that's basically what I've been up to. A lot of nonsense. What about you, Sky?
So I realized that the main 3 things that I have watched lately involve the same people on them.
Oh,
and I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so I'll start off with Busted 3. I finished that today. Busted 3 has all these people on it, but also has Lee Sung-gi on it. Mm-hmm. I watched Master in the House, which has Lee Sung-gi and Cha Eun-woo on it. And then I watched True Beauty, Cha Eun-woo. So, those are my main 3 things. Busted 3 was really fun. I can't tell you anything about it other than it's fun.
I had to put it off. I'm still gonna watch it.
I'm not gonna ruin anything.
I'm like 5 episodes in. I'm in it to win it.
The only thing I will say is there is, just like season 2, you have kind of the things they're solving, and that's episodic on some level. But then there is an overarching plot going on too. So that's why I can't say anything, because there's an overarching plot. But I was trying to even explain the show to my husband. He's seen a little bit of it before, just because I think I've shown him a puzzle or something, because I thought it was funny. I think it's a really difficult... we've talked about this show before on an episode, but I will reiterate, it's a funny show to try to describe to somebody because they're playing characters, but they're also themselves, like in every other respect. So it's really just like a variety show, but then you can tell parts are scripted. Like, it's just difficult to explain.
I think I explained it to my mom as it's an escape room mixed with a roast, mixed with a murder mystery party.
Yeah, it's a murder mystery party is definitely like probably the biggest angle, just because like the wackiness of characters.
But like Rowoon was on it, he did not have his same name. He had a character name, which was interesting because like everyone else had the same name.
It's weird when some of them have a guest name and some of them just have their own name. So then you're like, but I'm confused now.
I like when they're mysterious
way,
about
though.
the people, like, and like
Yeah.
in this for like season 1 when Nare was on it, they were like very mysterious on who she was, and like
Reina!
like me sitting there, I'm like, oh my god, I know who that is. Oh my god.
I did that.
Really
the
great
season
scene.
1 reveal of her was just so funny because like you open the door to like the pole dancing studio and all of a sudden she just like turns around. Like, beautiful. The show is so good
So good.
comedically.
Yeah, and if you're like a fan of variety shows, like a Korean variety, it's really great to watch because you do have like an insider like love of it too, because of who shows up and how these people like already are together, via other shows.
And the only other main thing I'll say about it is the women in the show are the best because
they're the
they're the
brains
smartest
of the
ones.
operation. Like,
and they will straight up say that. Like with this one episode, I won't even get into what they were doing. It was just the guys got scared and like wouldn't interact with dead bodies, whereas the women would and just push through and deal with the thing. And then after the fact, the women were by themselves and they're just like, did you see that? Like, the men are useless. Like,
it was like the snakes in the first season.
and then just like 10 minutes later, all the guys are stupid and get locked in a room. And the girls are off having to deal with their own crap. Yet, when the guys are being stupid and can't figure out how to get out of the room, they're like, well, we know we won't die here because the women will come get us. Like, they will come rescue us.
Uh-huh.
So good.
And throughout the entire season, it's like, they'll come save us. It's like, oh my gosh. Just so funny. But I busted a gut pretty much every episode.
Yeah.
It's great. It's funny. True Beauty. It's great. I would probably like True Beauty one more step if it was a little less screwy. But it's exactly what the webtoon was. So like tonally I knew what I was getting into. The reason I would prefer it to be a little less screwy is because quite often the subject matter is actually kind of serious and they handle it really well. And then they turn around and have like some really slapsticky thing. So like, and it's fun and it makes it light, but there's a lot of stuff that they do to keep it light that isn't quite slapsticky too. So, and they could have just had that, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to have the super over the top stuff, but they always kind of keep the super over the top stuff there. So they haven't had any missteps. The way they handle the
Serious
messages
topics.
in the show, it's very good. Yeah, and I think everyone's doing a really good job. I watched Master in the House. I think I'm like an episode and a half behind, but it's a good time. This one that I haven't watched yet, they're doing Korean wrestling, so like that should be really fun to see people try to throw each other around. Master of the House is always fun because of the things that they learn. Like one episode, they went to this famous musician's house, and he's on a lot of the music variety shows, and he lived in France for a long time when he would study music, and so he like made them French food. And so like it's just fascinating, just the things you learn about people and that you've even kind of seen on other shows. Or one episode they went to this really pretty huge theater, and like 3 of the main musical theater actresses, they were the people that were teaching that episode. So they first got like a performance all to themselves of these like amazing, performers, and then they had to learn like certain things, and then they performed with them. So it was really fun. Yeah, I always just get a lot of giggles out of that. So those are the main things that I keep. Busted was newer. And then, I watched a lot of stuff for podcast episodes that we've done. The Uncanny Counter, I am behind on.
Same.
Like,
Same.
I'm probably over half, but not much. If
I think
had
I
to
stopped
guess.
around 8 and I've caught up to maybe 11 now, but
Yeah, I stopped
So-
when there was the break, and then I was like, I'll just wait till the rest of it's out and then binge it. That was like my justification too. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
I'm behind.
And yeah, the whole writer change, like
Mhm.
that, you know, like I was already needing to try to regain my momentum to like finish the show, and then it's like that happened, and I was like, poop. Like that
Yeah.
that takes
Yeah.
away some of my motivation for sure.
It definitely
When something
took away
is
my
so good,
motivation.
you're like, oh no. Like,
Yeah.
why?
Because the thing, if I really enjoy the way a story is going in a show, that makes me trust whatever writer is handling whatever's going on,
Mm-hmm.
and I get used to the way the writer is handling topics or just characters, anything. And so then, yeah, if I get word that, well, this writer's not even handling stuff anymore, it's like, well, now it's going to be a different show because there's no way it's not going to be. And I just don't trust it after that.
Yeah, like if it was like a situation where the writer's not doing it because they did something and they needed to step down, that's fine. But when you know for a fact that was because the writer wanted the direction of the ending to go one way and the producers and stuff were like, nah, that's not going to happen, then I'm like, okay, then this is probably not going to be right. Because we spent all this time like leading up to that, and you're not going to allow that to happen.
Yeah.
Yep. I will touch back. I really want Kamen Rider Build to be on Netflix, so please go request
Yes,
it.
please go request it.
Oh, thank you
And
to
even-
the people who have already told us that they've gone and requested stuff
And
that we
you're
mentioned last week.
our
Thank you.
MVPs.
You're
Your best
really-
friends.
And Life is a Girl. So those
Yeah.
Kamen Rider Build and Life is a Girl. I'm gonna keep harping on that because those are the things that I did watch for an episode recently, and I really enjoyed.
This is Sky's mission for the year.
Life as a Girl was so good, guys. Like, it just was really good. And then what I've spent a chunk of time doing is playing so I have played before some Otome games. I don't even know if I'm saying it correctly. But they're essentially, I'm going to say dating sim just to like explain what it is.
They're fun. They're fun.
But some of them are more story based too. Like there's way more story to it. So there was a sale. Anyway,
Famous
I'm getting it.
words.
The ones that I've played,
always the way.
the ones that I have played before have been English ones. So now I'm getting into Japanese ones. And so I just finished Cafe Enchanté. It's the first Switch-based Otome Japanese game that I've played. It was really pretty. It was really fun. It's supernatural stuff, so that was enjoyable. Supernatural characters of various kinds. And I was not able to guess like anything, which I really enjoyed. Because for a lot of that stuff, at least the English ones that I have done before, you know, pretty predictable, or you could kind of see where it was going after a certain point. But Cafe Enchanté, I had no clue what was going on pretty much half the time. So it was really enjoyable. And then I kind of figured out how to play Japanese games like that, because there's kind of a rhythm to it. And then also, I was really frustrated for a little bit because once you play through the main common plot, and then you have to pretty much usher into whichever character you're following after that. If you're trying to then go back to a different character, you're gonna have to play through however many hours of stuff again. So I had to learn not only save points and stuff, but the game Cafe Enchanté specifically, they had built in, you can make it go really fast if you've already read it. Like it's really, really, really fast. And so, but I knew it had that function, and I kept like Googling, and because their blog posts, people talk about this game a lot because it's newer and all this stuff. But no one would straight up tell me what button to push to make it do that thing. And so I accidentally did it once, and I was like, oh, yay, I found it. So that like saved me a bazillion hours of just pressing the same button a bazillion times. Really fun. If you're into that type of thing, I'd suggest it. It's light-ish. There's some of those games that are really dark, so it's not, it does have some darkness to it, but I mean, it's all set in a cafe, so how dark can it really be? It went darker than I thought with the supernatural plots as far as death. I mean, I never got to any bad ends just because I guessed right on some things, but like
just because I'm good at the game.
You're like, just because I'm like an expert at telling games.
I could just tell if I went the other direction, the person would no longer be living. Like it just it's the way it would have gone. So I mean, there were high stakes sometimes, but I spent a lot of time on that. I wonder how many hours. I should have kept track. I heard it was like a 40-hour game,
happier
so
not
probably around
knowing. That. So
it was over the course of a few weeks. It's not like I did it in 1 day or something.
The problem is I do all my gaming through Steam, and it tells you how many hours you've spent on each game, and I feel personally attacked by that.
Actually, the Switch you can go look too. I think it's just an estimate, but yeah, I won't be checking that. No, there's
kind of like my drama list when it, end of the year, and it's here, you've watched 1 million hours, and you're like, shut up, I don't need
I don't need this kind of energy in my life. Thank you.
There was a pandemic. Do you know that, my drama list? Like,
yeah, put in environmental factors, okay? Jesus.
So I guess now we're going to talk about what we've been listening to. There can't be spoilers on that, so... We didn't do spoilers for other stuff anyway.
Yeah, we're not gonna like sing the songs for you to spoil how they sound.
Though that would be entertaining.
Little karaoke, little Nora Bong going on.
Jesse and I could try to do Odd Eye by Dreamcatcher.
I mean, let's go.
Let's go. I will allow Jesse to talk more about Dreamcatcher later. But they had to come back and we're happy about it. Odd Eye is really good, so is all the other stuff, so go check it out. Also, a while back, Ace had a special single, though there were 2 versions of it. Steve Aoki did a remix of their Favorite Boys song, so it's now called Fave Boys Steve Aoki's Gold Star Remix, which come to find out he named it that to it was inspired by Pokemon. I did not know that information. Anyway. And I will tell this story again. I feel like I already told this story, but pretty much the way this all unfolded was there was a Q&A on Twitter where the fans asked Ace various things, and they asked like, who would you like to collab with someday? And BK said Steve Aoki, Thutmose, and then I forget the third one, but pretty much Steve Aoki saw that and said, okay, let's collab. And so then they did this, and Thutmose is featured on one of the tracks. That's cool. And then the third one that they mentioned in that Q&A, I think they're going to be they're going to try to do a lot of collabs this year, so I'm pretty sure that they're going to be collabing with the other people.
I love stories like that when they're like, I want this, and it happens.
Yeah, like, and you see it happen.
That's so cool.
Daddy Yankee was actually the other one they mentioned, and they haven't, that really hasn't tracked yet, but we'll hope for them.
Fingers crossed.
And
speak it into existence for them.
Yeah. And so this song ended up hitting number 12 on the Billboard dance charts. So that's pretty cool. Like that's pretty big. That's a big deal for Ace. Like that's a really big deal. So they're doing really good. Really proud of them. And Flying released an OST song called I'll Find You. It's beautiful and like epic sounding, and I love it a lot.
Yeah.
If you ask me, like, is this in Flying just because I know his voice and stuff, I would say yes. But like, if I wasn't so familiar with his voice, I don't know if I would have said it was necessarily it's not their typical band sound, is what I'm trying to say, because it is more of an epic OST sound to it. Victon had a comeback. And it's all great. It's their first full album, and I like all of it. It's their title song is What I Said, and then their like second promotion song is Flip a Coin. One Us also had a comeback. It's their first full album. It's really good. And again, title song, they went hip hop stuff, and it's really fun. Yeah, so that I think it's funny that this all kind of hit it around the same time. They're promoting at the same time. So there's a song by Hong Hun Buell called Used to This. It's super fun. I recommend it. He also has an English version if you're into English versions of songs. Han Ryong. I'm not saying that correctly, but I know that Natalia digs it.
Mm-hmm.
Hee Chul and
Love
Kang
it.
Hoon's new song with
Love
BB.
it. Big fan. Big fan. Big fan with BB. Oh, so good.
It is so good. Like, there's a lot
really
to that
is.
song. And then Pentagon, they released a song, Eternal Flame. Come to find out, Hui still hasn't gone to the military. I don't know how he hasn't yet, but he must be busy in the meantime. Rolling Quartz, they did their official debut with Blaze. Really good
Great.
tune.
Great.
Go check them out.
So good.
Those were my main highlights. There's a ton of other stuff I've listened to. But these are the main things I've been having on repeat, really.
So.
Oh, sorry. I lied. You know, he had his
God.
he had his mini album.
God, yes.
His mini movie.
Yeah,
What?
and his music video was a movie.
What? Like, do you remember, like, back in middle school when the music video for Wild Wild West by Will Smith came out, and it was like a legit short film? This felt like that again. Like, there was a plot. There was acts. There were multiple plot acts. I loved it. It was
So,
wild.
a funny side story to this is I watched the music video and I really enjoyed it. Then later on, I was having to look into information about it. So I went to Soompi, and I saw that the music video then was age locked.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that makes sense that that's age locked. So if you don't like blood, don't watch that music video. Just saying. But it's really cool. Again, I'm not sure I ever would have foresaw that he would go that direction with the music video, but
yeah, it was wild. It was a wild. I literally just started playing it, and I was like, okay, wait, whoa, wait. And then it's like, you see like legitimate actors that you see in like dramas just like suddenly appearing, and you're like, what?
You're like, stuff's gonna go down. We have like big time people.
Yeah. So I recently, this being Talia, decided to indulge in the Bacchanalian sexual tantric thing that was apparently Baekhyun's Japanese album that had people all in a tizzy about how inappropriate a
Twitter is such a wild ride. I don't know why I'm still here. It's just
it's just like I'm sitting here like
let's back up. Let's explain.
Okay. So
for the audience that doesn't know what's going on.
So
all you
Baekhyun,
good people not on Twitter.
Okay, so Baekhyun, my boy, my sweetie, my little bean, had his first Japanese album. We were all very proud of him. The title song was "Get You Alone." The whole album is in just fabulous. Unfortunately, some people who just apparently aren't in the know about how pop music works looked up translations of one of the songs and realized it was about fucking, and got very offended that a man in his late 20s would release a song about sex. Okay, but I just questions. EXO has a song called Touch It. What do you think they were touching? Like hands in chaste prayer before Jesus? No. Like, come on, guys. Like, pop songs, generally speaking, are about three things: getting sex, wishing you were getting sex, or remembering that time you had sex. That's like a lot of pop. Why are you just... They're like, it's so inappropriate that he puts out this album. He has young fans. I'm like,
well, and that was
like a parental problem then.
Exactly. Like, it's not even that there's young fans, but they like the initial poster was like when 75% of their fans are minors, and I was like,
That's a
really?
that's a really bold statistic that you're coming out with that I am going to need some attribution for.
Well, here's the thing also, it's like it's still wrong. I don't say condone this, but I still can understand the thought process. If you had a person who was on a kid show, like a legitimate kid show, come out with a song like that, still the parents' issue that they're accessing this song, but I can understand the like thought process and be like, that's kind of weird. But guess what? He is not an actor from a child's TV show.
Or has ever been.
He's older, and plus, where's this like same like rage at like someone like I don't know, like Selena Gomez, who was actually in Disney shows and young when she was doing songs that were sexually explicit. Not to say that you shouldn't. This is not what I'm saying. I'm saying is like, what is your thought process? And why did you actually think this was like a legitimately okay thing to do? Like, honestly.
I think my favorite, I forget who it was from, but my favorite response from someone like encountering people upset about it was, what did you think he wanted to get you alone for? Playing Roblox? Like, it's like, I'm sorry. Like, even if you look at the lyrics of like most K-pop groups.
I mean, it's like the people who think that Monsta X's "Love You" is about censorship. It's a song about radio censorship, and I'm like,
I mean, like, I could see it, but not in the way that they're thinking. You know?
Lyrically, it's a clever lyrical motif
the way
to get
that
around censorship, but it's not about censorship. Just like, listen, if you're concerned about minors listening to sexual music, then don't let the minors in your life listen to sexual music, and like, let the rest of us have a good time, man. Like, we're all adults. We like,
let adults sing songs. Like,
about adult
and
things.
even if you're an adult that doesn't dig that stuff, just don't listen to it. It's
then
cool.
you just don't
It's
listen.
that's really easy to not listen to something.
It is.
If you haven't figured it out, then you shouldn't actually even be on Twitter, because it's not a safe place for you. Just go.
Yeah. It's like, it's not up to a 28-year-old singer to like police young people listening to his music.
Yeah.
It's not. Like, he's an adult. He can perform whatever songs he wants to. Like,
also,
like,
if you think back to songs that you yourself listened to when you were a kid,
no, right? There was
you literally didn't know what was going on.
I
most
knew
of the time.
every word to every song on Alanis Morissette's album when it came out.
Yeah.
I was like, what, 8th grade?
I used to loudly sing every single lyric to every single song on Tori Amos's Under the Pink when I was about 9 years old. And if you've ever listened to that album, oh boy. Boy. And it's just like, get it together. Like, when I was a nanny in college, and it was about the time that the song S&M by Rihanna was out, and I was babysitting this like little, there was 7 and 5, and we just had the radio on, and the song came on, and they knew all the words. And I was just like, oh no.
Like those videos of like, and you find on YouTube where like the parents like are like listening to something, and then you start to hear the kids sing it, and they're like actually shocked that the kid knows. Yeah. Like, where did you learn this?
And it's like, and they didn't know what any of it meant, right? Like, they had no concept of like, sadomasochism, but it was like, it's funny, but at the same time, that was up to their mom to turn off the radio if that song came on. It wasn't up to Rihanna to never put the song out.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's funny to me too is when it's somebody who's tweeting in English about lyrics that are in Japanese, and you're like, okay, so are you concerned that the English speaking minor fans are listening to this and like getting it subliminally? Like, is that your worry? Because like, I don't. If they just don't look it up, they won't ever know. Like, they'll just.
It's like, won't anyone think of the children? Like,
I don't want to think of the children. It's not.
I just want
my responsibility is my dream.
My responsibility is that like kids have access to public schools and food, but like not for me to figure out if they're listening to the right songs or not. Like,
yeah.
It's just not my thing.
And like, let's be honest. There's worse songs they could listen to than Becky Ann's Japanese album. Like, it's all illusions and like, you know, metaphors. It's not like
straight up what it is.
Yeah.
There's a lot worse than talking about
if
sex.
legal adults want to sing about consensual sex, that is their prerogative. You know,
I just find it
honestly
so funny because he already has been for a while.
Are you not paying attention?
And then I'm like, so clearly they never looked up the translation of the lyrics of UN Village because it wasn't a geological survey. Let's just put that out there. That wasn't what that song was about see the sights of Seoul. No. But you know what? Listen, people be people. Other than that, God, that was just the funniest one for me. I have been listening to a lot of Ace, NCT. Yeah, I know. I'm really pumped. I've been like listening to Hyuna's old stuff because she got the new stuff coming out, and she my baby, she my girl. And I swear to God, if anyone brings up anything of the same about her stuff when she's been doing that for years, I'm gonna lose my mind. But you know what? I'm sure there's some sort of purity crusader who's already upset about her already, so hopefully I can avoid them. What else have I been listening to? My gosh. I really have been listening to a lot of Taeyeon. Really into her. I've really been enjoying more G-Idol. Taemin, you know, my huge suspects. Been re-listening to some Shiny and preparing for the comeback, you know, super excited. That's basically it. Like, I listen to like the same stuff because like I just put it on shuffle and then whatever comes up. And then if there's a new song that comes out and I like it, I add it to the shuffle. And then, you know, so the new ones were, you know, Becky Ann's, the remakes of Fave Boys, Yuno's new stuff, the stuff that everyone else also listened to. I really like IU's new song that literally just came out.
Oh yeah, it's super good.
I haven't listened to it quite yet, but
I won't say
I know it's gonna be good because it's her.
It's the song doesn't, but the music video has Lucky vibes. Britney Spears Lucky. So maybe that like brought you in Sky.
Oh.
And
not as dark, but
in case you need to understand that reference.
We love Britney. Free Britney.
Though I grew up in a very sheltered environment, I still knew enough about Britney Spears that I've always loved her to pieces. And if anyone wants to go toe to toe with me about her being awesome, bring it because they're great. She's great.
Free Britney.
Right.
Here. As my final like special note, Epic High's new album is incredible. The music video for Rosario is also really incredible.
It is really good.
It's so good, and if you haven't already checked them out, you should go check them out. They're great. They're great.
A funny side story to that is how I guess people are jokingly texting like the lyrics to that song.
Oh yeah, because Pablo did a tweet. He was like, "Send the lyrics or send a clip of the Rosario to your friends," and then someone was like, "Great, I'm gonna go send it to my mom," and he's like, "No."
And then when Eric Naum was like, he tweeted, he's like, "Why do people keep texting me Rosario lyrics?" And Pablo's like, "No, stop it."
I will say that even for English speakers, Rosario does have a language warning in English for anyone who has children around and is worried about the children. But no, it's a really great song. It's really, like, really song.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was, you know. Oh, and they're also Epic High. Their thing with BI was really good. Enjoyed it. So that's what I've been listening to. What about you, Jesse?
So Dreamcatcher came back just the other day, and as expected, I love them. I will admit to you, because I think it's like good to admit things about your faves. This is definitely not my favorite title track. However, on a whole, I think it's good. And it's always like a balance with Dreamcatcher, because I am the one that's hopeful and wishful for them to always stay with their rock stuff, and thankfully they have. However, that's not what Korea likes. It's just not what it is. And if they want to make money and succeed anywhere, not even in K-pop, that's really not where they can be. And I am just thankful that they still like keep those elements alive. I think also the problem was it was kind of like targeted as a new metal song when it's not new metal. It's got a hip hop vibe, but it's got the classic Dreamcatcher rock vibe in the chorus, but it's kind of more EDM vibe. But it's still a good song. Han-dong's back, and she's my bias, and I love her so much, especially her voice. And she's got a lot of lines in this, and so it's really nice to hear her. And visually, the music video is stunning and perfect, and just so good. I will say about the entire like mini album, if you are an anime fan, and you know there's always that like kind of running joke about like Dreamcatcher and like, you know, having the anime sounding songs, which just means that they sound like Japanese rock songs. This is like probably your perfect album.
Favorite song off of the new album then?
I actually do think Odd Eye is my favorite song, like for the most part. Like probably like Wind Blows is good. I like actually really like Poison Love a lot too. Just the entire kind of like aesthetic of the like entire album is a little bit more EDM involved. And with like the like rock influences, I think it like actually really lends to a lot of like what you would find from like an intro or outro to an anime, which maybe they're like actually trying to kind of angle themselves in that way so they can actually pick up those gigs, because that would be really good, bring more people in and get them more money, which I'm totally fine with. Also, like, I was an anime kid, and that's how I got into Japanese rock. So like, this is not a bad thing for me.
Yeah.
I want them to have their first win so badly, and it would be great to have it when Han-dong is here. And
yes.
if you're like, you know, around Twitter at like 6 a.m. KST, I will also be around if you ever want to talk about it. That being said, like when I say that like it's not my favorite title song, it's still like a good song and better than most songs that are coming out. So like it's just like they are my favorite. And I also think it's important to talk about like if something, because your favorites are not infallible. There's sometimes there's just not songs that are like meant for you, and that's like the beauty of music in a way too. It's just not your song, and then that's okay.
And that's totally acceptable.
Have I been listening to it all the time? Yes. Am I streaming it all the time? Yes. So there we go. Alexa came out with a single. I don't think we talked about it here, and it's a ballad, which when I saw that she was going to be doing that, I was so happy. She's like kind of breaking away from her Alexa robot stuff to Alexa H for these like ballady type of songs, and it's like more connected to the human side, so it's a little bit more emotional stuff. So I'm thinking because specifically she did that for this one song, that means that there's going to be more of that to happen in the future. I was really excited about that because I love Alexa, but one of the things that like I always find kind of missing in her songs is because of what her concept is, you don't get to hear her voice a lot. And that's not a bad thing. It's just like because of her concept being robotic and like very like dance driven, and she's a good dancer and that sort of thing, her songs kind of lend to that and works for the concept and works for what it's going. So it's perfectly doing what it's supposed to be doing. But Lexa has like a good background in music. She actually went to school for musical theater, and she just has a really great singing voice. And so I was really glad that she came out with a ballad so that you can like hear her voice.
The emotions in her voice were like really good.
Bandmade, the Japanese rock group, all female band, came out with their new album Unseen World. It's spectacular. But if you haven't listened to Bandmade and you really are into rock, like heavy rock, I really need you to listen to them. They're just so good. Their guitarist is phenomenal. The lyricist and main vocalist and the one who like kind of started things, she's also really great. Their drummer's really, every part of this group is just really great. Also another Japanese artist that I loved and talked about a lot, Yorishika, came out with a little EP called Creation. It's also great. They could do no wrong for me, seriously. And they always come out like when I need them the most. Hoppy Pola came out also with a new album. And I talked about them before because I got into them last year and I just like love them so much. What I love about them the most is their like raw and really emotional ballads and the way that they use the cellist into it as like almost like a secondary vocal line. And it just, I love them. I love them, and the entire album it's just good. I'm trying to think of what else I've been listening to because I also talk about stuff on my blog, so I don't know what I've talked about here and wrote down. We talked about Rolling Quartz and their song, which I really like, of course. All female rock band. How you get Jesse. It's not very hard to get me on like music. Oh, also, I don't think I've mentioned this on this podcast, so I will do this because it's worth mentioning. Last year, I think it was in November, a group of Korean rock females got together and come up with this compilation album, and it's called We Do It Together. And their aim was kind of to like produce songs for this album that like kind of center on like female issues, whether it be in terms of like rights, like female rights in Korea, but also like females in rock scene and the rock scene in Korea, and you know, kind of how they're like the kind of hidden voices of it. It's a really great compilation album. Cool. It is on Bandcamp. I kept on saying Bandmade in my head like multiple times and I couldn't get it out. You can listen to it there. You can also buy the album digitally. It's only like $12, so, and it like goes to really good stuff. Like Billy Carter's on it. Just a good group of female artists in Korea. Like some of my favorite of the bands that I've been listening to. And it's also just a really great compilation album. So if you're looking for something, you should be definitely listening to that, especially because it was a good like thing to promote and to the awareness in the kind of like the music field that it's always been less than thrilled with females in the rock scene. So I'm sure I'm missing other things, but there's been a lot happening. So
yeah. And it's been a long time since we've done one of these, so it's like, what? Like, have I really not mentioned that yet? Like, yeah. I don't know.
And then we did the kind of weird thing where like we were also doing our like end of the year stuff, and that kind of pushed off things that were like new and like So So what about you, Amanda? What have you been listening to, or what do you remember?
Well, this week it's been Bobby, because Bobby had his new album come out, so I've been listening to that a lot. Lucky Man is the album. It's good. It's got a lot of variety on it, so like there's some more rock sort of stuff and rap and hip hop and R&B, and there's, you know, some collabs, and there's, you know, there's a lot going on. I tried to go into it with like no expectations, because when Love and Fall came out, I was expecting an album full of Hull Up, which was his release previous to that. And it was nothing like Hull Up. And so I was initially disappointed. And then the more I listened to it, the more I liked it. And it's one of my favorite albums now. So I was trying not to go into this thinking, oh, it's going to be Love and Fall, you know, 2.0. and then, you know, get disappointed if it was an album full of like Haul Up. So it's not either. It's its own entity. It has some stuff that reminds me more of Haul Up, and it has some stuff that reminds me of Love and Fall. And it's got some stuff that reminds me of that video game collab he did, the Rise Up, I think it was called. So like there's just a lot going on there. Bobby likes to just
diversify.
Exactly. And so there's a chance that there's I'm not going to say there's something for everyone on this album, because there's clearly not, but like I don't know, it's good. I'm really right now really into Liar. It's very raw. His voice in it is very raw, and just the lyrics, it's a good song. I like them all. I'm glad people seem to be liking it, and I hope he enjoyed making it. So hopefully if it does well, that means Icon gets to come out of the YG basement. You know,
I'm gonna unrelated to Icon related, but unrelated to talking about what music you're listening to.
Fair enough. I kind of fell down a Searle hole. There's not a ton of music on Spotify, but they're really good. I like their voice. They give me a little bit of I've just completely lost Solutions. Like some of their stuff sort of has that similar just band, you know, it's just a band with good vocals and good tunes and great. I just really enjoy it. So fell down that little rabbit hole and enjoyed myself. Back, I think it was December, maybe, I don't know, that was like 3 years ago, I don't know. Ocean from the Blue released an album called Lo-Fi 2020, I think, which would make sense since it was 2020. Very chill, very relaxed R&B, kind of like smooth vibes. He's very, again, nice voice, great vocals, just nice, smooth, easy listening, but good listening. Not, you know, not elevator music, easy listening. It's nice. Soto Band released a full album, or maybe a mini full album. I don't know. It's good. I love them. I love their style. It's very unique. They try to pull some more like traditional Korean elements into their pop music, which makes for a really neat sound and a really unusual but unique sound, and I quite enjoy it. And Brown Tigger came out with an album called 2010 Years Old. I'm guessing he turned 30. I don't know, but it's nice. It's nice. It's got some nice sounds. It's more of a hip hop R&B kind of mix going on. Some more ballady stuff, some more less ballady stuff. It's good. It's a nice sound. I really enjoy I've enjoyed stuff from him before, but this was I think this is the first time there's been like a new release since I started listening to him, so I'm enjoying it.
Your first comeback with him.
Yeah.
Ooh, exciting.
Just because I mentioned them in last week's episode, Ballistic Boys had a release this year called Life is Party. Like,
agreed,
party.
sir.
Agreed. Okay. It's good. It's a fun, boppy, enjoyable song. So, yeah, as expected, because that's kind of what they do. So, oh, and a new group, at least I'm kind of assuming that they're new. I didn't find much about them. I didn't look into them too deep, but called Chunduk, I'm going to say. They've got one song on Spotify and it came out like a week ago. It's good. It's a nice, smooth, but kind of peppy song. And I just really enjoy it. I'm guessing that they're a duo or a group of some sort, because there's a nice variety of voices going on, and there's no like featuring so-and-so in the you know, in it. But yeah, you know, they have like, their song has like under 1,000 listens right now. So, you know, if you want to get that like special badge from Spotify at the end of the year, go check them out and, you know, give them a few listens. But yeah, and then, you know, just listening to whatever Spotify throws at me. Sometimes.
Well, I see right now on Spotify, you appear to be listening to K&K, if I'm to be believed by looking at.
Well, right now I'm actually listening to our Spotify mix.
Yes.
I just hit the liked songs, and like it's just playing everything that we as a podcast have ever liked. And we have such good taste.
I'm
listening to Flower Fantasy, but
like Spotify likes to tattle on people who you're friends with.
No, it's so weird because like when I'm looking from the Certified Noonas account, it says that I'm listening to Trunduk, the song that I just mentioned. It also tells me that you, Natalia, are listening to You Mad by Bobby. So
I am. It just came up in the shuffle.
You, the listeners, could go check out our Certified Noonas Spotify account. You can follow us there, and then you can know, mostly just me because I'm mostly the only one who listens to it, but you can find out what we're listening to. But we also have a lot of playlists there of our, like all the songs we mentioned tonight will be on a playlist there for you to, you know, go check out. And hopefully I will do all the hard work of like searching the different groups and putting them in one place. And then you can just listen to our playlist and click through and follow new artists that way. I'll do all the hard work for you.
Thank you for spending time and taking time out of your day to come listen to us, the podcast again, us Certified Noonas here on whatever podcasting service you listen to. And if you're looking for a new one, we're on all the podcasting services that pretty much exist, but you can also go to our website at certifiednoonas.com, where all of the links and show notes and everything are lovingly put up by Jessie, who's just chef's kiss on that note. If you want to become an official Found Family member of the Certified Found Family, you can go to ko-fi.com/certifiednoonas to support this podcast and keep the lights on, as it were. We love making content for all y'all, and we love hearing from you on Twitter and Instagram. So like, go check us out there. It's always at Certified Noonas. It's how you find us. You can send us an email at certifiednoonas@gmail.com if like that's your vibe. Hey man, cool.
Check our email, we swear.
Yeah, you know, and yeah, we love hearing from everyone and love chatting about Asian entertainment. So hit us up. We hope that you have a fun and safe week. Wear a mask, wash your hands, and keep enjoying Asian entertainment. Bye.
Bye.